Ready Player One tests the limits of nostalgia culture and provides a good time for pretty much everybody. Directed by the legendary Steven Spielberg, Ready Player One is one of the coolest movies ever made. Universal Pictures was so interested in this project that they bought the film rights roughly a year before the book the film is based on was even published. This dystopian future film takes place in the year 2045. An immersive virtual reality called the Oasis has become such a big deal that it drives a lot of the real-world economy. Like most of the world he inhabits, orphan Wade Watts, played by Ty Sheridan, immerses himself into the Oasis. Recently, the founder of the Oasis passed away and left behind golden keys hidden in riddles and competitions. Regularly, members of the Oasis compete in a race to try and find the first golden key. Eventually, Watts' crew figures out the secret to a race and actually collect the first key. From there begins a crazy journey into the history of James Halliday, beloved creator of the Oasis, and his relationship with the company that runs it, Gregarious Games. The journey eventually crosses paths with Nolan Sorrento, played by notable bad guy Ben Mendelsohn, who is head of Innovative Online Industries and is hell-bent on getting the 3 keys himself. Control of the Oasis is handed over to whoever can solve all the riddles and puzzles and secure all 3 keys. In the end, Watts comes through and wins all 3 keys, but learns a lesson from the creator James Halliday himself, played by Mark Rylance. Ready Player One's awesome to watch because there's hundreds of great references and visual Easter eggs littered throughout the virtual world known as the Oasis.
Zemeckis Cube turns everything back in time, 60 seconds.
Spielberg actually called this the 3rd hardest movie he's ever had to make because of all the work going into acquiring the licenses that were necessary for this pop culture heavy story. He wasn't even able to get the rights to one of his own films, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, from Columbia Pictures. There are tons of great references that are relevant to the film, including the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, the Iron Giant, and Mobile Suit Gundam. There are also a lot of blink and you miss it cameos from Deadpool, Harley Quinn, and characters from the online multiplayer game Overwatch. There's so many little nods and winks that every scene seemed littered from the brains and 80s and 90s babies, chock full of pop culture. Seeing these characters interacting and in the background enhanced the experience of the movie and just made it feel more like how something like the Oasis would actually look. It was visually amazing. In one scene, they go inside The Shining. Yes, inside The Shining. Watts and his friends have to go through the Halliday archives to figure a riddle that leads to the next key. They find out that the answer is in his favorite movie, which just so happens to be the 1980 Stanley Kubrick classic, The Shining. So when the gang walks through the door, they walk into that movie, complete with the Overlook Hotel set and a grainy film look. For a moment, the movie becomes another movie. Sure, it changes the CGI fest with the Ballroom of Ghosts showing up, but for a moment, Spielberg got to be Kubrick. Ready Player One is just an overall fun movie to watch. It's the rise of the traditional old-school film hero from lovable, scrappy, down-on-his-luck loser to a king of the world with a beautiful girl and success and wealth as a reward for his accomplishment. The film hammers home the real-world consequences where Sorrento begins attempting to have Wade killed in the real world in order to prevent him from winning control of the Oasis. There's a fantastic chase scene involving both the real world and Wade operating the Oasis. There's an element of sadness in this movie as it becomes very clear that everyone's way more concerned about what happens in the Oasis than in the real world.
Wade, the Oasis needs you.
It starts to remind you of The Matrix a little bit, actually. How what happens in there is just as important to the film as what happens outside of it. The story itself is a great coming-of-age tale. What does help separate Wade from other guys that go through this is the choice he makes when being offered success. He chooses instead to share the power and wealth with his small group of friends. The 5 of them save the world from the evil machinations of Innovative Online Industries, who at that point had an army of users working for them in an attempt to beat the heroes to the 3rd and final key. After all the out-of-this-world fighting and cinematic moments, the big final fight between good and evil is a dude playing Atari. That's it. We're watching someone play a video game inside a video game. Technically, we're watching a movie about someone playing a video game inside a video game, but suspend a little bit more disbelief, will you? To be fair, it is unexpected and heartwarming. In the end, Sorrento blows a metaphorical nuke on the Oasis, killing all players. However, Watts has an extra life that he got earlier in the movie. You know, like Scott Pilgrim did in his movie? Hey, that was a good movie. Go watch that movie too. Holiday sets up the key so that you don't get it when you win, but by finding its Easter egg. In it, you find a little key to open a room revealing the game's creator. To do so actually means to not finish the game. However, the player generally has more fun doing it, which was Halliday's point all along. Sure, you may want to accomplish great things, but you should sometimes focus on having fun first. Ultimately, Steven Spielberg delivers on the promise of showing you your entire childhood together in one movie. There were so many great things to see and take in. For that reason alone, you already want to watch it over and over again. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe for all latest Cyberpunk videos, where we tell you what you've got to see.
It's fucking Chucky!